This is Triple RRR Financial, and I'm going to just make my comments on this video, on this short video on YouTube. Hear it out.
$1 million house.
I guess it would depend on the house, to be honest with you.
Jay-Z and Beyonce bought a $200 million house in California.
Yeah.
In Malibu.
They're saying they paid all cash for it, too.
Listen, they acting their wage. That's Jay-Z and Beyonce. Okay, they got it. But is there ever a reason, I guess is what I'm saying, to have a $200 million house?
Also, the cash thing is like that's not exactly like a real thing.
Well, you can pay cash for your down payment.
But they are saying they paid the whole thing cash. You have to pay cash for your down payment, but...
You do stuff like that for taxes sometimes. You know what I mean? Like, you got to spend the money.
Yeah, I think that what most people in this circumstance do, and I didn't know this until recently, this was even an option, and this is how like people with high net worth can really have a huge advantage in these types of circumstances. You can take a loan out on your assets, use that loan, that line of credit, as cash, buy the property, and then refinance it into a mortgage. So you get all your money back.
Would you ever want to...
Now, the reason why I'm covering this short YouTube clip, you don't need to be an employer. You don't need to have a business to take advantage of these loopholes that the rich do. You don't need to buy a $200 million house. As a matter of fact, you don't need to have a business to start a business. As a matter of fact, I would never tell somebody to start a business to get rich. You don't need a business. As an employee, you are the business. Matter of fact, this is an extreme example. Let's use a small example. You're an employee for a small firm. An employer is paying you $100,000 salary, and your employer, now here's a trick now, your employer, after taxes, deductions, everything, you know, money from the business, imagine that same employer is only making $100,000 a year from that same business you're working for. On paper, he puts down that, yep, after paying my employee, yeah, you're working for a small business, you know, between 10 and 50 employees, small business. And guess what? That employer, that businessman is living better than you. You know why? How the rich avoid taxes? Guess what? You're getting paid $100,000 as an employee. You take out a 30-year mortgage. You as an employee cannot write off that mortgage. You can't. But guess what? Your employer gets a mortgage for the same size house, same amount, and puts it as a business expense. The pandemic should have wake everyone up. The pandemic, these rich people were laughing at the poor. He. I have a $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, $50,000, $100,000 square foot property. You think you're rich? There are people that have a home that is bigger than a state. Yeah, financially poor people, poor employees, I should say. That's why I keep telling financially poor employees, know your financial advisor as an employee. You making $100,000, your employer, small business is making $100,000. But you don't get to write off your mortgage payments. Matter of fact, I know. Oh yes, you can. It's different. It's when you as an employee trying to write off your mortgage to try and get some tax refund, it's different than an employer. Specifically a businessman or businesswoman, it's different. You as an employee, you buy a car for $40,000. You can't write that car off, but guess what? That rich man, He buys that car under a business name, and at the end of the buy that car as a business expense, and he could write off that car. Now I know this is an extreme example. There are so many ways the rich avoid paying taxes, and again, you do not need a business to get a business license. You can start a business. Now, what some smart entrepreneurs do, they start a business. They don't need to sell anything. They have a business in name only. For tax purposes, you start a business. On paper, you get an LLC. Now, money is relative. In my area, it costs it costs around $400 to $500 to get all that paperwork done. LLC paperwork, trademark, it takes about $400 to $500 locally. But guess what? It's well worth it. You know why? You get a business license. That business becomes an entity, and guess what you can do? You don't need to make a profit. You can transfer. You can. Well, two things you can do. Now, I know. I'm gonna get a lot of comments. Oh yeah, man, you can get a car loan as through a business. And when tax season comes around, yeah, again, personal income tax and business taxes are due at different times for a reason. Now I'm gonna cover this, but guess what? Get a business license. Get a car loan through that business entity. Now, just as a warning, some banks will try to detour you. Some banks will ask you for your personal information. No. Here's my business information. But I know, no. I mean, even online, this is the one catch where they try to get your personal information. No, that business is its own entity. So guess what you do? Get a business license. You get a business car loan for that car. And you can you can put your monthly payments as a loss. You as an employee, you can't do that. You can't take a car loan and then when tax times come, oh yeah, man, my monthly payments were a loss. No, you can't do that. You can't put down on your tax return, well, I use X amount of gas. No, you can't do that. In your personal income taxes, you can't put down, well, I spend this and spend that on my house. No, it's different. That's how the rich avoid paying taxes. They put their home. Their home includes a lot of stuff. Their home includes maintenance. Yep, you take a 20-year mortgage and then 6 months later the water heater blow. You can't write off the water heater. But a rich man can, because that home he's living in, on paper, he has that as a business expense. Now I know a lot of people ain't gonna like this. Please follow Triple RRR Financial for more financial news and events.